welcome everybody. Back here to Crit Miss. It's Tuesday night, and we have a brand new, very exciting campaign for you all. I'm super excited. I hope all my players are super excited as well. How we doing, folks? I'm Mark Hillman. I'll be your Dungeon Master for Vecna, Eve of Ruin, and we have an amazing cast of players joining me for this this campaign. So let's introduce those guys and get into things. Let's start. I'm going to look at my screen. I've got you guys and all little video things. I'm going to go. Let me see. I'm going to go from the bottom to the top. So we're going to start off with Sevs. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm very, very well. Wow. That was out of the blue. I didn't expect to be at the top. Shit. I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. I'm doing very, very well. How would you like to do this? Would you like me to start from when I was a little child and work up to the woes of being a Welsh person living in Australia? Or would you just like me?
I mean, I would love to know those details personally. That would be really cool, but I don't know if we have enough time for that right now. But perhaps those things can come out over the course of the next, maybe couple of years. It's a decently long campaign. But yeah, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from? What do you do? What got you into D&D? That kind of thing.
Well, I'm from Wales. Obviously, you can tell by the accent. Now I live in New South Wales, which is almost as good as actual South Wales in back in Wales. But I have to give a little bit to the home country. What's got me into D&D? I knew a bunch of guys back home, and they were playing second edition D&D, and I kind of went in it from there.
Nice.
Dropped off for a very, very long time, and then come to Australia, and then I didn't realize how popular podcasting was with D&D players, and then I rolled into that, and then it got the bug again, and now I'm here with you lot.
We have very similar stories with D&D. I started with third in high school.
Welsh?
No, I mean with the D&D. So my stepdad is though. He moved over here when he was like 3 or 4, with his folks, and his sister. But yeah, so I started playing D&D in high school with like third edition. Although my stepdad had one of the old red box, like original, first ed Dungeons and Dragons boxes that I mucked around with and stuff as a kid, but I didn't have any friends that were as nerdy as me. And then dropped off for ages, and then it was actually Crit and Miss that got me back into playing again. I'd been watching like Critical Role and Viva La Dirt League D&D and stuff like that. And then I saw Sven post about something like looking for music or whatever for a channel, and then just paid attention to the channel. I was like, hey, I kind of might want to get in on this. Can I play? And was fortunate enough to get in on the flagship stream as one of the players like that Sven first kicked off with Out of the Abyss, which was really cool.
Haven't been able to get rid of him since.
Yeah, stuck with me.
Just a hanger on her.
That's it.
I've tried creams, ointments, all kinds of things. It doesn't work.
I mean, look, to be fair, at least when you've got me around, you're going to have at least one stream that runs like almost every week.
You got me.
Ooh.
All right, moving right along. Kiran, you're up next.
Hi everyone, I'm Kiran. I've been playing D&D for about 7 years, and I've been DMing for almost as long. I'm a forever DM, and so I'm excited that I get to play in this campaign. And I've been having a blast so far with our prequel adventures.
Yeah, they've been fun. We did just for those that haven't. Well, I don't know if we even have them up yet, but we have 2 recorded prequel episodes that will end up on YouTube once they've been edited together. I still need to actually upload the second one for Sven. It's me we're waiting on, not anybody else. But yes, they were incredibly fun. I had a blast. You guys all seem to interact quite well, so it was really cool. I'm glad that you're whoop, we heard that one, Rob.
Yeah. There's good background noise going on there. Sorry guys.
You're in trouble.
So good, man. So good. Yeah.
It's okay, we're only live, it's all good.
No, it's fine. So yeah, Karen, I'm really glad to hear that you're getting a chance to play as a forever DM, like that's really cool, and I'm happy to be able to DM for that, so that's awesome. All right, next we have Elric. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. I am actually I don't know if you'd call me a D&D veteran, but I'm definitely a veteran of Mark's campaigns. I've played quite a lot of them,
Most of them, in fact.
but I still can't predict the bastard, so don't expect any of that.
Good.
Let's see now. I actually started in second ed, right? Third ed was just coming out, but no one wanted to play it. And my first good D&D games were Dark Sun, so that
Nice.
was
I
something else.
remember reading about Dark Sun in old like Dragon and Dungeon magazines that my stepdad had from like the fucking 80s and shit.
Oh, it was fun. Just a big desert full of gladiatorial arenas and scary creatures. I got to play a half giant.
Ooh, nice.
So
That's cool.
Goliaths are, medium-ish,
Yeah,
but your half giants actually kind of start at 10 foot tall.
yeah, jeez. Big stompy buggers.
Yeah.
What was the other half?
And it makes it different to get around.
You look tall on camera, so I'm still trying to work that out. Are you actually
mean,
quite tall?
4'8".
He's not short.
It's not sure.
Half giant, half halfling.
That's right,
Actually-
exactly. I'm probably
actually
more
funny
half
that-
gnome. Or,
That's how humans were born.
The barbarian in the Viva La Dirt League main campaign is half Goliath, half dwarf,
It's just,
and so he's literally just a human.
just a dude. Yeah. Yeah. That's how. See,
that's
it-
brilliant.
Mummy Goliath and a daddy halfling love each other very much. They reproduce like fish. Anyway, let's not get too bogged down in the details of that, though.
Yeah.
If it
Speaking of,
helps, if it eases your mind, the half giants in Dark Sun were a magical experiment. There was actually no intercourse involved in making them. But half dwarves are another story.
you really needed to know that. You know what? Just for that, Geoff, we're gonna take this campaign on a turn through Dark Sun, even though it's not written in there.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah. Just so you can go and see the magical experiments.
Make sure to optimize shade.
Optimize shade.
Oh, I'm saying to the players, make sure to optimize shade if you're in Dark Sun. If you find shade, get under it.
Yep. Fair. All right. Moving right along. We're not actually going to Dark Sun. I cannot be bothered. That's a whole bunch of lore I have to read. So next we have Sven, channel creator and DM extraordinaire, and also a pretty masterful character role player. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm pretty well. Hey, thank you for asking me, man. Hey, I appreciate it. How are you doing?
Good.
You good?
Chilling.
You good?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Keen, excited, tired, nervous. Like all the things.
Sounds like a real ball of anxiety. Keen, nervous, excited, tired. I'm not sure if that's healthy, but we're not here to be healthy, are we? Really?
Probably doesn't wet his pants so good.
It's off camera. You can't see it, so it doesn't matter. Wet whatever you want. You get real moist down there. No one's going to judge you. This is Dungeons and Dragons. It's a safe place for everyone. I don't care what floats your particular boat. We're here to have some fun, and I'm glad you have invited me to be a part of this campaign so I can do unto you as you did unto me all those many months ago.
But you don't realize also vice versa. Thanks for being a player.
Yeah. Look, I don't have a shield for you to break, so you
do have something else though that I'm not going to spoil the surprise on. But
yeah. Let's leave some things up to people's imagination. No, like I said, I appreciate you having me here. If people don't know, community manager for Crit and Miss Role Playing Games. Thank you to those people who followed us tonight and today. By the way, we see you in the chat. We appreciate you. That is amazing. We're creeping closer to our 600 follower goal right here. So I do appreciate that. It's always exciting starting a brand new campaign as well. What was I saying again? Yes, community manager, Crit and Miss Role Playing Games. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. And I really enjoy it. So yeah. While I have the spotlight as well, just wanted to do a quick credit for tabletopaudio.com. Any ambience that you happen to hear during tonight's episode is provided by tabletopaudio.com. Tabletopaudio.com for your audio needs.
You will get some ambient soon.
And quick shout out as well to the character artists. You can see some of our character art up on the overlay right now. That's from Mark. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Hanafiel. Don't get mad if I didn't pronounce that right. Amazing artist, very well priced, and very expedient with his art. I would recommend checking him out if you're playing Dungeons and Dragonies. Yeah, that's all I have to say, I think.
All right. Well then, thank you very much. And yes, ambience-wise, there will definitely be some of that once we get started. Now, last but not least, we have one more player to introduce their tier, and that will be Rob. How you doing, man?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, as you just said, my name is Rob. I hail from Townsville, like some of these other lovely gentlemen.
Don't give it away.
Started D&D. Started D&D 2020, I think, 2019, late 2019. Originally cast in Valiant Odyssey. Have done quite a few one-shots with Sven and as a part of Crit and Miss. Keen as to do this campaign with him as a player, as I played with him before as well, which was a lot of fun. So this should be a good time. And have played with Mark as well in a few campaigns. So being DM'd by him should be an experience. And what else? I don't know, local 3D printing enthusiast. When I'm not designing engineering components and stuff, I'm printing some D&D models and whatnot on the resin printers and some terrain pieces to keep me busy. When I do get to actually DM, which is very few and far between these days, but when it does happen, it's always a good time. So pretty much me in a nutshell.
That's the way. Love it. Yeah, the 3D printing thing's fun. We got Eric and I've got a mate who lives down south who is got right into it, and he's like 3D printed a whole bunch of like Warhammer Fantasy stuff for us to play, like skirmish battles and stuff with, and the stuff you can do, and it's incredible. Hey,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
When you apply it to organic modeling, bro, like figurines and stuff like that, the level of detail some of these things spit out is just mind blowing.
You put in the adult toy
every old
industry out
action
of
figure
business.
you ever had is just blown out. That too. There's plenty of flexible filaments these days.
All right.
Penis jokes with all my friends.
Feel free to take it away.
All right. Well, yeah, we're here to play some D&D and get into a bit of a campaign. So, like, I probably should have written like some kind of fancy intro and stuff, but I didn't. So, and you're not going to get a big narrated kind of dealio. But what we do need to do is go a little bit over the prequel.
Star Wars?
So, yes. No, not Star Wars. The prequel episodes that we recorded. Just to give people a rough. Now, I don't want to go through it in detail, because you guys can reveal what may or may not have transpired through roleplay. Yeah. But I'll just give everyone a quick rundown since you guys already have your hero points. We will not require a recap from all of you this week. Oh, I almost forgot. Before we get into things, we haven't been able to introduce all of our players. Jem unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. She's not feeling well, but I really hope she feels better soon. Hi, Jem. She will be joining us with another wonderful character as well once she's feeling better and able to jump in. So, hi, and we'll get you properly introduced when you're ready to join us. Thanks, Jem. All right, now that we've gone through everybody, we'll get into it. So, during the pre-record sessions, you guys all kind of met up in one way or another and ended up in a tavern that wasn't so much a tavern. We'll leave that to your recaps as well. You met some creatures. You might have tussled with them a little bit. You might have talked with them a little bit. You might have revivified one of them. I don't know. And then ended up in what was basically an unwinnable situation from there. You've all since woken in your various accommodations throughout the city of Neverwinter. And so being that we are in the city of Neverwinter, we're probably going to need a map for that,
Love a map.
right?
Yeah. While we bring that up,
If you guys want to here.
could I ask Mark, would it be okay if I
Yes.
activated the roll off for the chat room?
Yeah.
bots?
Absolutely.
Alright, I'm gonna turn that on.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I pressed the button.
So, our adventure begins in the city of Neverwinter, on the Sword Coast of Faerun, on the world of Toril. It is some years after the eruption of Mount Hotenau, caused in no small part by the Red Wizards of Thay. And there is, in fact, still a deep chasm, a scar across the city as a result of the damage of that. Many of the citizens and the city guard and the tradespeople are all largely focused still on rebuilding that part of Neverwinter. For all of you, you have come to the place for your own reasons and have been here for varying lengths of time. Some recently arrived, some have been here for some months, years, whatever the case may be. In either case, you have each established yourselves as maybe not necessarily adventurers, but you've done something in your time here that has had you stand out to the powers that be. I should also point out, as far as the timeline goes, there were some more recent events in Baldur's Gate. Rumors of a cult following a being known as the Absolute. Long since dealt with, in those last few years. Baldur's Gate is definitely safe. But just giving you a place in the timeline of what's going on in Toril and along the Sword Coast for you. So, as some of you may have passed through there on your way to Neverwinter. So, giving you those kinds of ideas. Now, for each of you, you're going to wake in what would be your usual accommodations. After having experienced whatever the hell that was, where you just met this bunch of strange random people, and for most of you, I think all but 4, your last memories will be of basically being overwhelmed by living ooze dying, or at least fading to black, whatever that was. It was incredibly painful. You will remember that much. And then a face sort of floating in the nothingness before your vision, sort of decrepit and withered face, missing an eye, smiling at you. And all it said was, I guess I'll be seeing you soon. And then you wait. Now, let's start with no particular order, except the order I have my notes in. Qualek. You wake with a start on your bed in your Neverwinter accommodations. And you're still fully robed, fully dressed, fully rested. You feel refreshed, but the memories of what just happened are like they just happened. Could you please describe to us your character, what we see, who he is a little bit, and the room in which he wakes?
Yeah, I imagine we quick cut into this scene. Looking right above Qualek's bed, he just shocks awake. He's like, and we see like this almost simian-like humanoid. He's not big. He's maybe 3.5 foot tall. He's covered in this like now matted, medium-length sort of fur, except for his face. It's like brownish red, spotted with a bit of grey here and there, and perspiration is just streaming down his face as he catches his breath, and he mutters to himself, "So, That's what dying feels like. He throws aside his quilted cover and sort of sits up, scooches off to the side. He looks around the room. We can see that he's sleeping in this large four-poster bed. It's not like overly flamboyant, but it's obviously much too large for a creature his size. He looks around the room. It's well appointed. Again, not extravagant, but just covered in bookshelves stuffed with books and tomes, and there might be a fireplace off in one of the walls that the embers have now, only just glowing. There's a window on the opposite wall just above the bed, and I imagine some sunlight might be streaming through a crack in the curtains. He sort of hops up out of his bed, looks down and see he's still clad in his robes, and they're like flamboyant but practical. This is like a theme that we see like around the room in his clothing. Everything that he has, it's flamboyant but also practical at the same time. And he has this preposterously large, finely like detailed like pointy collar which sticks up almost like above his head. And he pats down his robes and he's like, "Don't remember going to sleep in these." And he immediately cuts across the room and starts just poring over all these dusty leather-clad books and everything, and he's like going through them all. And he pulls one out, and it's like almost like an empty, just like diary, and he like flips it open, puts it on a bedside table, and starts immediately. He gets a quill, dips it in some ink that may be like on a desk somewhere, and he starts immediately writing down everything that he remembers about his dream.
All right, can you make me a history check, please?
A history check?
You are pouring through. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a perception check, actually.
And a perception check. All right, let's start with the history check first, because you asked for that first.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 19 on the history check.
Good start.
All right, and the
I need them both.
perception.
Yep.
All right, where are you, perception? There you are. Oh, still pretty good. So a 20 on the perception check. Some good rolls.
Yeah,
to start
cool.
off.
So as you were digging through for your, I'm guessing, journal, or whatever it is, you also sort of happened across, and you didn't open it or anything. You just sort of like bumped it and it fell over as you're pulling the book out, and you noticed the title of the book on the spine says, what's it? The Undying King.
Interesting.
And now this kind of jogs a memory. You're not quite sure at first, but then the memory of the face you saw just before you woke up, you think you might know who that was.
And I imagine
I'm not going to say it out loud, but it is your particular area of study.
Field of interest. Yeah, absolutely. I imagine with like the quill he's still holding, he starts to inscribe like a rune in the air. We can see it like sort of tracing, and as he traces it, it like appears in this blue arcane like magical energy. And as he finishes tracing that rune, it sort of shifts and takes the form of like a spectral hand. There's like wisps of magical energy that sort of dissipate around it, and it floats over towards that book and gently scoops it up. It's his mage hand. He's casting mage hand, and it floats back over towards him, and he just allows the fingers to like open up and the book to fall open to any random page. And what does he see?
Let's see, what does he say? Yeah, it falls open. This is a research book. Sorry, I skipped over that. But what book is he flipped open?
The one that he knocked out of the bookcase. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, perfect. So he sees an image of the Undying King.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine we
Sitting
see
upon
this shot, and the book held by this spectral hand floats just closer to the one that he just flipped over, that he was quickly scrawling in, and we can see that he was like trying to very hastily sketch what he saw in his dream, and like his is obviously not as refined as the one in this book, but he puts them side by side and he's like, there's definitely more at work here than just a bad dream.
Mm-hmm. And at that moment, almost as if it was meant to be, I guess, there's a loud knock at your front door.
Right on time. And he scoops up both of the books, the one that he was quickly scrawling in and the other one. The other one is held still in his mage hand, and he goes to leave the room, stuffs the book that he was holding in his hand into his robe, pulls out one or two more books, shoves them under his armpit and grabs another one, opens it up, and he's got maybe like a 3-story sort of like building. I wouldn't say that it's like big or anything like that. It's just it's a nice house, but it's not like super well appointed or anything like that. But all the windows have bars on them. All the doors are like heavy oak and clearly have like multiple locks on them. He makes his way downstairs, and he hears
as you're heading down the stairs, you can see coming up towards you, your, let's say,
Chamberlain.
Hey.
The Chamberlain.
Yes. That's probably a good word for them. This is probably a middle-aged half-orc man, very, very sturdily built, wearing just basic blacks, no hood or anything, just like tied back hair, but very well spoken. And he walks up to you, sir, okay, I'm not going to mince words. What did you do last night? The guard are at the door.
Nothing. It's I just have an appointment. Qualek is moving up in the world.
Oh, well, that's good to hear, sir. So you don't want me to get rid of them this time?
Absolutely not. This time, we're going to try a different approach. I might be gone for some time, and it's going to be up to you to take care of my estate. Is that something that you think you can handle?
Of course, sir. That's why you hired me, remember?
No one is to enter my room. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Keep it locked up,
Completely.
and if anyone opens it, I will know. I have a spell cast on that door.
Understood, sir. And he heads straight over to the door and checks that it's definitely closed, pulls out a key ring from his belt that's got so many keys on it. Flicks through them like he knows exactly the one he's looking for, locks the door up, and then turns to stand in front of it. It's like, no one enters while I live.
Very good. Oh,
Gives you a curtain nod.
and before I go, remind me again what your name is. What is your name?
Sir, it's Hubert.
Hubert. Yes. No. Of course, I
No,
knew that. I just wanted to make sure. It was a bit of an interesting night. Maybe I had one too many drink while I do my. Oh no, I don't drink. I just forgot that character trait. I stayed up too late last night doing study. You know how it is. It happens all the time. But Hubert, I feel like you and I have a good record together. I feel like we're getting close. Yeah.
I've worked for you for some time now, so yes.
Yes. On the count of 3, we'll say how long you've worked for me, just so I know that you remember also. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. 3 weeks.
15 years.
Oh, right. I always get you mixed up with your brother. Anyway, I have an appointment to get to. Like I said, you take good care of my estate. I want everything in order when I return.
Absolutely, sir.
Very good.
Absolutely.
And he makes his way over towards the door. It's unlocked, so he pulls it open.
Yep. And standing at the door are not 1, not 2, but 3 not just guardsmen, but protectors. These are the, let's say, personal guard of Lord Dagult Neverember. Not just anyone gets the attention of these guys. They're all dressed in full regalia, full plate mail. Full breastplate with like shields, long swords, the works, and the blues of Neverwinter's coat of arms and symbols and stuff all over them. The lead one, he's about 6 foot tall, sturdy fella, dark ruddy complexion, small little scratchy black goatee, steps forward, looks down at you, just like, Quaylek.
You're late.
What do you mean I'm late? How did you... Never mind. Lord Neverember wants to see you. Come on, let's go.
And
you recognize this guy. It's Protector Darren. You've dealt with him before.
Did you say Protector Darren?
Darred, D-A-R-E-D.
Oh, Darred. Okay. It's the Protector
Yeah.
Darren. Okay.
No.
And like
he's like the chief of Neverwinter's body, personal guard.
before he can even like finish his sentence, that spectral blue hand just like floats past him, still holding that book in his hand. Quaylek, holding another book in his like actual hand, is like walking down the street, like reading one book. Like he'll flip the page on one book and then he'll flip the page on the other book. He's like reading 2 books at the same time, and he calls back out to the Inspector Darrett. He's like, "Come on, daylight is burning. Faith doesn't wait for anyone."
The guard take off after you, and we fade to black as you're heading up down the street towards the Protector's Enclave. Excellent. And the lights will come up again, and this time we will see a forest just outside of the city, and a lone figure in a camp. Beltari, would you like to introduce yourself, please? And describe yourself.
Are we going to give him a bit of a brief rundown on what's what? As you sort of enter the scene, you see a quite tall gentleman, very lean, dressed in sort of armor that doesn't quite fit the environment that he is sort of surrounded by. However, his sort of makeshift abode is more fitting. It's sort of made out of some like twine from trees, some like big logs, which look far too big for him to have moved by himself. But in essence, it's kind of a little shack that's been built there. As you sort of pan around the shack, you see some beheaded sort of animals, more notably a head of a man's claw, also the head of a basilisk and a bulgura as well, sort of placed quite efficiently, neatly, and at the forefront of this abode, you see sort of a smattering of some novel pieces around as well, and some sort of like a supply of fresh meat, wine and ale in barrels to the side of this place. As the gentleman turns around, you see some long hair to the sides of his head, shaved quite cleanly. Looks like his own handiwork. His face is very humanoid. His ears slightly more pointed than a regular human, but it's more his eyes. When you look at him, they sort of dance between a blue with like sort of sparks of white. His skin's quite pale, and he sort of has this sort of almost not there look on his face. He seems to be muttering to himself, almost like he's talking to someone or something.
Yes. So, as Beltari will be keenly aware, whatever just happened, can't have been a dream.
Correct.
Um,
So
what he will also find is that the objects he picked up while in that place are still on his person. But
as you say that, he'll reach for them and pull them out, inspect them.
sure. So I remember a dagger. What was the other thing you had?
It was a emerald, a blue glowing
yeah.
sapphire. Sorry, a blue glowing sapphire.
Well, they both definitely have some magical properties to them, like, you know, that you use to detect magic to figure that out. So, what are you wanting to do here? Are you wanting to, like, so identifying magic items is either an identify spell to find out what it does, or you attune to the item, and that will let you figure out what it does. Maybe not necessarily all at once.
Yeah, definitely.
So, which option and which item would you like to go with first?
Yeah, look, I'd say Valtari will be scrummaging through a few of his sort of like barrels and crates and stuff that he's got there, just to see if he's got a scroll of identify or something on him. If not, he is 100% aware he will not want to attune to something that he does not know what it is.
Cool. Go ahead and roll me a d20, and
Sure.
we'll say on a 14 or more, you find one scroll of identifier in amongst your stuff. If you get a 20, you find two.
Not 20. Yeah.
Very nice. You find wrapped up in a little scroll case.
That's it.
You knew you'd put it there somewhere. You just weren't quite sure where. It took you a minute, but there it is, little scroll case, and there are. Let's say there are actually 3 scrolls of identify in there.
Awesome.
Now here's the kicker: is the identify spell on the ranger spell list?
Ooh, I don't know. So we'll have a look at my spells and see. I have a funny feeling it is not.
I don't think it is. I'm going to put it out there to everyone at the table and also to the chat. I kind of like to think that anyone who's capable of casting magic should at least be able to attempt to cast something off of a scroll.
Yeah, does not look like he has the ability to do that. Therefore, 100% put it to the chat.
All right, what does everyone think? If I make it a spellcasting check or something to be able to cast a scroll that's off of your list, and that'll be permanent throughout the rest of the game. So chat opinions and other player opinions, please.
Do it.
Well,
I'm all for scrolls going wild.
I
Like just
think
any scrolls.
what I like to do with scrolls of spells that people don't have on their spell list is get them to do a spellcasting check that is Arcana. I think it's like was it 10 or 12 plus the spell's level. Now, because it's not on his spells list, what about you do it with disadvantage?
I like that.
Or what about
like
if
that.
it fails that you have to roll on the wild magic table?
Oh, I love that.
I also like that.
Suggest
So
that.
we're gonna do both. Why not? So the DC will be 10 plus the spell's level, which is 1. So it's only a DC of 11,
Okay.
but it
Sure.
will be with disadvantage. Arcana.
Which I
And
have a
if you
0
fail,
for.
yep. All right. And
Yep.
so if you fail, it will trigger wild magic, and we're going to be doing this each time you cast the spell. So which item are you starting with trying to identify first?
Look, I'm only doing this because I feel like it would be kind of out of character for him to take risks like this. But I think
100%? No,
his
totally.
I think his curiosity in this case, knowing what he's just gone through, I think that would get the better of him, and he'd sort of like he'd be willing to give it a shot. To be honest, though, if he fails the first one, he's probably not going to go for the second one. So that's just a FYI. So let's roll with disadvantage. So DC 11, correct?
Yes.
Right. Wild magic ensue, I bet.
We'll see.
Yep, definitely. It's a 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now we are not using the standard wild magic table. We have a variant table that I like to use that Sven dug up at one point in time. So I need 2 things from you right now. I need a D20 and a D100.
Sure. Did that roll 3 die for some reason?
No.
Oh, no.
Right, a
That's right.
16 and a 63.
79.
Right. So 16 puts us in the nuisance category. The categories are nuisance, moderate, or extreme. So it won't be anything too bad. What have we got? 63. Rolling it down. There's a different thing for each number in the 100s, and there's 3 different categories. So there's 300 different possibilities here.
Ow.
Okay, this may or may not be useful, but the next spell you cast in the next hour uses a spell slot 1 level lower than what it normally requires. If the spell is a first level, you must still expend a spell slot to cast it. So it's a free, second level spell at first level kind of deal. In the next hour, it's probably going to get wasted, to be honest. But you just feel the weave kind of like, as you work this spell, even though it doesn't work, you can feel like the energy you put into it kind of reverses back into you, and you can feel that extra little, charge from the weave or something like, the next time you try and cast a spell, it might be a little easier. Do you want to try again with the other scroll?
I'm going to say he doesn't quite
Yep, cool. No
notice
problem.
anything major has happened. So if it did, I feel like he would not attempt it.
Yeah.
So let's give it another crack.
All right, so now
and
which
see.
item are you trying to identify?
I would have said he'd probably be more intrigued with the sapphire.
Sure. Yep, no problem.
So doing that
Right.
again.
Yep, same roll again.
Yeah, that's a 6. So again.
Oh,
D
yeah. Yeah.
Is it a D100? Roll again. His
So
burn 2
there's 2
scrolls.
scrolls.
101. So 18 and 83.
18. So we're still in a nuisance area. And what was it, 83 you said?
Yeah.
And again, nothing major that you would notice. It's something that'll happen if you were to cast another spell.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, hang on. So when I didn't quite cast a spell, did I? Would you classify a scroll as casting a spell? Technically, I guess.
Like, yes, but you're not expending a spell slot, so the previous effect
Sure.
wouldn't have had any effect. The next one is if you cast a spell that has a saving throw within the next minute, the target gains disadvantage on its saving throw. So it's just, you just get the overall feeling that your magic for the next little moment is going to be just that little bit more effective. It's at this moment, it's at this very moment that you hear some twigs snapping about 30 or 40 feet away towards the path.
Mm-hmm. He'll turn.
Yeah.
He'll take a seat and cross his legs and fold his arms.
Yeah, cool. And you will see coming towards you, not at all trying to hide, like they're, just sort of like almost blathering through the woods. Some armored folks bearing the Neverwinter regalia. Yeah. And it is, again, you would recognize these are protectors. They're from Lord Neverember's personal guard.
He's probably seen him do patrols and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I feel.
Met him once. Like, I think you were probably given an audience with Lord Neverember after slaying that Balgura. I feel like it was threatening the city. It was operating within the Chasm district. Where
definitely maybe be offending one of their main farmlands or something like that.
Yeah. I think actually in the city, in the area that's being repaired.
Oh, right? Yeah, that too.
Yeah, and so like you were maybe you'd come into town for supplies and you caught wind of this thing going on, and so you tracked it and dealt with it, and Lord Neverember was kind of grateful. So called you in, gave you whatever reward it was at the time. And so that's how he knows of you and that kind of thing. So you can see these guys coming towards you. They approach and basically just ask you if you would come and meet with Lord Neverember, as he has a request to ask of you. Basically, needs your services.
I'd say maybe like as you wish, and then be happy with that audience.
Excellent, and they will begin to escort you, towards the city and towards the Protector's Enclave. And we will again fade to black. Now, moving across, we still got 3 more to go. Time out, cool. Right. We're going to now sort of straight onto a scene that's sort of above the city of Neverwinter. You can hear people moving about. It's morning, so the streets are bustling. We're going to end up in an area kind of close to where we were in the prequel adventures. I don't know if we determined where that was, but let's say it was in the... let's have a look at the map, shall we? That'll tell us. I'm trying to think of the appropriate district for where we are. You know what? Let's say... Where is it? I was sure this was on here, but it's not. I can't remember exactly where it is in Neverwinter. Sorry, bad DM. But let's say you're somewhere near... I was zooming down over an area somewhere near the Bannered Mare Tavern. Near. And we instead divert, just before we're about to go into the tavern, into some nearby stables. On a pile of hay, we find a human man just rousing from what we assume might be a slumber. Sevs, would you like to describe Flower Child 4 for us, please?
So Flower Child stands at an impressive, heroic 5'8". He's clad in fluorescent tie-dye outfit that doesn't seem to lose, or hasn't seemed to lose, its color. His shirt is still as bright as ever, but all his pants and stuff are still they generally patched up, and they're quite patchy and stuff like that. And he just rises without a care in the world, lifting his up, trying to stop that sunshine coming in through this barn that he's kind of found himself in. And he opens his eyes and he just looks at the cow and the horse that are just kind of looking at him, and he's and he just slowly just gets up and looks for his belongings. So he's got like a little backpack with all his life in there, and then he's got this large pipe that's basically out of plumb. Like a plumbing in somebody's building. It's got it's quite a large pipe with a 90-degree angle on it, and you can still see the thread with a bit of thread tape and things on it. And he gets up and goes, oh, that was a good sleep. Gets his bag out, rummages in his bag, pulls out an apple, breaks it in half, feeds the animals, and gets up and then looks around and fishes in his pocket for a coin of some sort to pay the farmer, because he did sleep in somebody's barn. And as he pulls the coins out, they tarnish with blood and a little bit of hair and just dirty coins. And he just takes a gold out, puts it on the top of the sty or whatever it is, and backpack on. I'm hungry. Looks at the cow and goes, good place to eat, guys? Yep, cool. And just starts walking out the door.
So you leave the stable, you find yourself on the streets of Neverwinter. And it's wandering around, and you can kind of smell food. Might be coming from a tavern up the way there. So what I might do is we're gonna cut across, and we're gonna cut back to you at the end of this next bit.
Yep.
Is my hope. All right, so we're gonna actually cut to that tavern and a room within it. We are at the Bannered Mare, and Kiran, would you like to describe Auntie Lizzie and her accommodations at the Bannered Mare, please?
Yeah, certainly. So Lizzie wakes up from her dream to nothing but darkness. And it takes her a moment to remove the silk face mask, or silk eye mask that she has on her face.
Yes.
She reaches to reaches out and stretches on her king-size luxury mattress, and sits up and sees the dawn of a new day. Her room is beautiful and decadent, but it's in stark contrast to that room is all her clothings and items just strewn across the place. She's just thrown things, clothes and items wherever they land. She makes her way towards a washing basin that she's lucky enough to have inside her room. And there is a polished piece of metal where she can see herself, and she can capture a glimpse of the face mask the skin cream that she fell asleep with on her face, the curlers in her hair, her pale pale gray skin, and her horns curled back. She sort of washes off the skin cream and sort of sees the crow's feet on her eyes are just a little bit deeper than they were yesterday. And she thinks about the passage of time. And a voice sort of rings in her head. The voice of old Sal. That this adventure she's currently on, is the adventure that she will meet the love of her life. And the passage of time and the continuing march towards annihilation is a reminder of how important this journey is to her. She goes, thinking of Auntie Sal, or old Sal, she goes to the deck of cards that she was given by old Sal. She was told to pull one card from this deck of wonder, one might call it, each morning, as it would set her on the right path. So she does that, exactly that.
Now, I need Now I need to ask you something. Is this a 13 or a 22 card deck of wonder?
You tell me.
If you want the full,
let's do 22. Let's do 22.
Cool. Go nuts. Now I don't have. I'm going to be honest. I forgot to prepare cards, but
That's okay.
I've got a table, so I'm just gonna match an equivalent.
Wonderful. So,
I'll fill everyone else in on what's going on afterwards.
So she pulls one of her cards from the deck of wonder, a king of spades.
Mm-hmm.
She recognizes this as the end card.
Ooh, what is that?
The end of the beginning.
The end card is an omen of death.
This is scary.
But she's not afraid.
Thematic. It's on
She's
point.
She's dealt with death before. She's dealt with undeath before, and she's dealt with a husband she wishes was dead.
She's intimately dealt with undeath, if I remember her history correctly.
That is correct. But she doesn't like to talk about it.
So you got N. Okay, let's see. Oof. Well, I need you to roll 2d10.
Mm-hmm.
While that's happening, I should point out as well, I did take the liberty of pre-rolling Qualex's divination die.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that and I forgot, sorry.
Yeah, I got a 19 and a 5 on that one.
Cool, no problem.
Important.
How'd you do?
16.
Yep. 16. All right, you're going to take 16 necrotic damage.
Mm-hmm.
As the card, you can feel it just leeching your, a little bit more life out of you. The crow's feet deepen a little more, and your hit point maximum is also going to be reduced by that amount. Now, have you had this deck for a while?
I have, yes.
Okay. Roll me a d20, and on an 11 or higher, you know how to deal with this.
It's a 4.
Okay, so no, you still haven't figured out exactly what that effect is, but it's draining, some essence from you, and you will know, however, that you usually feel better the next day. Whenever you draw a card like this.
The effects of this card on Elizzy aren't pleasant, but they're not upsetting to her. She trusts in what Old Sal has promised, that if she trusts in the cards, she will find the love of her life.
Nice.
Oh, good. So she's trusting. I won't use that to my advantage in any way. So.
find something.
As she places the cards down, she picks up a drawing of herself with 13 smaller versions, small tieflings. It was a drawing, a goodbye message from her 13 nieces, nephews, and nibblings. And she takes a moment to look at it, and she gives it sort of like a little air kiss before setting it down.
Aww.
And putting on the necklace, the pearl necklace that she's not supposed to have, but she has claimed in any event.
Excellent. As she picks that up and puts it on, she'll notice sort of tucked in behind whatever jewelry box she keeps it in. A little bit of fur. It's kind of moving, and then upon noticing that you probably noticed it, here's a squeak, 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 and two little rats jut out from behind the box and sort of like run around it and meet up together. Their paws are almost touching, and they look up at you. Squeak, squeak.
Annie Lizzie sort of goes, sort of looks around the room for a piece of food or a piece of rations that she has.
That'll be something.
And she puts it in front of them, and it sort of rings a bell. These two rodents they seem fortuitous.
Yeah, excellent. Now they'll start nibbling down, and they seem quite happy. They'll eat the rations, and then they kind of both slip back into the jewelry box this time and kind of like pull the lid closed over themselves and seem to have settled in and made a home for themselves out of it.
Annie Lizzie grabs her DOS loot, straps it to her back, plugs it into the amplifier, and makes her way downstairs.
Nice. When you get downstairs, you'll probably notice, maybe through the window, a kind of familiar-looking human, sort of out the front, sort of following their nose towards the tavern. It is Flower Child 4.
Hey, have we met before?
No.
You might remember her, maybe. Just saying.
No, not really. Look, I may have, I may not have, but I'm hungry.
Me too. Want to get some breakfast? Sorry, did you say you're hungry? You said you're...
I am hungry, but I've never had a woman with horns just come up with me and ask me for breakfast. But it's alright. Yay.
Hey, I got a tavern here in the spa here. If you wanna join me, let's have some breakfast.
Yeah. I can do that.
Just before you guys are about to head inside, Annie, Lizzie, you'll notice a couple of the city's protectors sort of heading straight towards you from up the road. You don't necessarily recognize this one in particular, but you know that Lord Neverember's a bit of a fan. Has been for a while, like since before,
I've told you I don't I can't give another signature.
Ma'am, Miss Annie Lizzie, look, this guy seems to be younger than some of the others that we've seen so far. It's like, he's a little bit shy, sort of like blonde hair under the helmet, green eyes, kind of like average, but like, just nothing stand out about his features, but just like, sort of like nervous, and just kind of no, it's not that this time. Actually, Lord Neverember needs your help with, like, how when you do the strum thing, magic-y. That. And he kind of looks over at 4, and his eyes go wide, and he's like, "Wait, that's him from last night."
No.
Yeah, you. Lord Neverember really wants to meet you as well, friend.
I've never met him before. I don't know him.
No. You haven't met before, but he's Lord Neverember, the guy in charge of the city, who wants to meet you after what you did last night. He's very impressed, and he would in fact like both of your help if you could both come with me, like now, please.
Me and we were just about to get breakfast. Is there going to be food over there?
I mean, we're going to his manor house, so I assume so.
Because my colleague over here is really, really hungry. So either we have breakfast now, and we can come meet you after.
Look,
yeah, I mean, you could just don't be too long, okay?
We won't.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. And he kind of turns around, and the other guard, who seems younger and more inexperienced than him, was kind of standing back, and they both sort of scurry off together. And you might think it's strange that there are such, I guess, green soldiers in Neverember's personal guard. But what you do know, since you've been in the city, is that everyone is focused on the rebuild and the recovery since the eruption of Mount Hope now. And so the workforce is spread really thin. They've had to recruit fresh, people in almost all areas. Like the eruption took out a good swath of maybe a fifth of the city when it came through, and they've managed to rebuild a good portion of it, but there's still, as you know, the massive chasm district over there in the southeast. All right, so with that, they'll walk away, and you guys will be left to have breakfast, and we will lift up this time without fading to black and skirt over the city, this time towards the Beggar's Nest. And we'll zoom down, and the buildings here are, let's just say, not exactly well maintained, and maybe not even built from the sturdiest of stuff, but they function. People live in them. Mostly don't die from them collapsing on them. And those that do get hurt, well, they have the local clinic that they can go to. It's not much more than a shack itself. And the doctor's a grumpy, cantankerous old fool, but he usually manages to fix them up. So, Elric, we're going to come through the doorway of the shack, zip through the rather messy examination room, and into the small, bunk room at the back, where we find this rather large individual sprawled out on a bunk, just waking from whatever the hell that was. Would you like to describe Doc Hopper for us?
Okay, so he's gonna raise up, just fully stroking his head like it's horrid, and his haggard, gaunt face rises over his huge body as he sits up on the side of the bed. He reaches over to a notepad and just scratches out some notes and writes just quickly under it, "Dreams not going away. More mercury, less mercury." And then turns over and actually looks for his good friend Trax. Is she around?
Yeah, Trax is curled up having a nap as well, in her usual spot.
I just look over at her while she's sleeping and say, "Yeah, the dreams are still happening. We need a new combo." And I quickly reach for... Oh, sorry.
She slowly flutters her eyes open, looks over at you, like, yeah, and points at the glass bottle that's sitting next to her little bed thing. And this is that you will recognize this as the one that she handed you in what you thought was a dream. But it's full again.
And I'll just say, thanks, Trax. You always come through for me. And I'll just take a swig from the bottle.
Excellent. Keep it me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Oh, as soon as I reconnect, because
Yep, all good. All good.
funny tricks. Come on, back and join. And there we go. Get that out of the way. Sheet. Okay. Constitution saving throw.
Mhm.
Looks like a good one.
Yeah, so you down the liquid. You immediately almost regret it. Like, it almost comes straight back up. But you manage to force it down, and your head spins for a minute. Maybe not a minute, but your head starts to spin, and you feel, are you standing or are you still sitting?
Still sitting.
Okay, cool. So you're almost, you sort of like slouch back in the bed a little bit as your head spins. You feel the sweat, sort of start to, you get a little bit warm in the face, a little bit fuzzy. You are drunk. Straight away, you are quite drunk. To the point where you might be a little bit word slurred and staggery. Whatever that was, it was damn strong.
I just look over at Trax and say, where did you get that?
She kind of shrugs and then points at the bottle again as it starts to, you can see it slowly starting to refill. Like, not instant, but you can see that it's like maybe in another hour or two, you might be able to get another drink out of it.
I'm just going to look at her and say, hey, look, this is surgical grade. Let's put this away. And I'll search my shelves for something a bit lighter to just drink and ease me down while I go out and face the world.
Go ahead, perception check. Looking around in your shelves.
Perception. And I've got terrible perception. There could be 20 bottles here. I won't find one. I rolled a 12.
Look, I'm imposing a -2 for the drunkenness, but I'm also imposing a +2 for the alcoholism. So a 12 is good enough. You managed to find, a bottle of wine somewhere tucked away in the back of the clinic.
Okay, so I look at the wine bottle and I'm just there like, I hate wine. I'll get something else. And I go out and I remember, that's right, patience. Have I got any patience? And I'll head out to where I actually do my surgery and doctor work, because that's what you want to do when you're drunk.
Mm.
And so what you find when you get out to the office is there's no one there. You can hear just this faint, high-pitched kind of sound coming from somewhere in the room.
And at this point, I say to Trax, do you hear that?
She's asleep again.
I look around for the source of the sound. Is this investigation or perception?
Either, take your pick.
Oh, investigation.
Most likely perception.
One.
Yeah, go nuts. Go nuts.
Rolling rocks tonight.
There we go.
It's a good start.
Alright, so what I want to know is, how does Doc Hovel handle the fact that it takes him about 10 minutes to actually find the source of this noise?
Okay, well, he's gonna be making his own noise the whole way through, as you're just gonna hear him saying, "God damn it, what is this? This wasn't happening yesterday. Hey, what is the source?" Like, I'm gonna go over to my desk and look underneath that and knock on the wood a couple of times. Like, what is that?
Alright, so would you say that in the process of trying to find this noise, Doc Hovel might, say, lose his patience?
Oh, they're already lost. There's none of them there.
So eventually, you do find what is just a tiny little trinket, and it seems to be like it's just a little bauble, like a tin, coin or something that's got a stamp on it that you can only recall seeing in the hands of some of the local kids that like to pretend it's money and use it for their games, their street games and stuff, right? Around the nest. And you know that a couple of those kids may or may not have parents who are artificers and may have taught them a trick or two. So it seems the local kids have been deciding to play a prank on the grumpy old local doc, right? So hopefully no harm, no foul. We'll see what happens if you happen to run into those kids. But just as you manage to find it and get the noise to stop, there's a knock at the shack door.
Could I please add one thing?
Sure.
In getting it to stop, I'm going to grab just an empty cup from somewhere around my office. I'm going to put it in there and say, look, this is a shut the fuck up.
Love it. Works every time, right? And like maybe unbeknownst to you, that cup has actually got like a silence enchantment on it or something that you never know because you're too busy guzzling from it when you're drinking, so you don't try and talk. I don't
Very
know.
likely, you know.
Yeah. And so like right at the moment that noise stops, another one sort of intrudes on your morning vibes, and you get rap at the door. Unfortunately, these guys either don't know their own strength or didn't realize that your door had kind of started to rot on its hinges, and the door kind of just goes and sort of lands in splinters across the floor. And you see standing behind it a pair of protectors, Lord Neverember's personal guard. And these ones seem...
Hey, you're paying for that door.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we'll make sure it's taken care of. But we do need you to come with us, Doc.
What? You come literally break down my door and tell me you're coming with me? Am I being taken to the dungeon here or what?
You see this guy's already rolling his eyes and handing you a scroll.
What is the charge? Eating a
I
meal?
read the scroll. Okay, what the fuck? Well, sorry. What the hell is this?
The scroll is a very formally worded missive from Lord Neverember. But I'm not going to read it out because it's actually like 3 or 4 scrolls long.
Wow.
And a good 2/3 of it is basically telling you how he thinks you're one of the finest doctors that Neverwinter's ever seen. He really admires the fact that you stick to your guns in working in the Beggar's Nest rather than, anywhere else where he could surely have an office. And that he has a problem that may actually require your specific services, as in a medic who's capable of facing danger. And he would very much appreciate it if you could join him at his manor within the Protector's Enclave post-haste.
Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna go over to my my secretary, which is literally just a statue with a paperclip attached to it, and say, look, take care of any files that come in. And I'm gonna head out after, of course, putting on my mithril armor, making sure my ever-loved scalpel is in my pocket, and I will
On the
follow
way out,
these.
you see the statue throw you a quick salute.
I look back. Did it do that before?
Too much mercury.
I take another drink from not the new bottle, the one I found after getting the new bottle.
The wine? Yeah.
Oh, the wine, yeah.
All right. And with that,
And then that's a mistake.
Yeah, and with that, we cut away. We raise up once again over the city, see it in its entirety, and then begin to slowly zoom in towards the Protector's Enclave. And we see the Hall of Justice off to one side, Castle Never across the river, in its prominent position there. And then we swing slightly to the right, towards one of the footbridges that crosses over towards Castle Never. You can see on the map, we have a party token there. We're heading towards that building there. And we're slowly going to enter through the front doors to see all of you gathering in the front antechamber. And right there, we'll take a short break. And we're back, folks, for the conclusion to our very first episode of Vecna Eve of Ruin here on Crit and Miss. I'm pretty excited. Everyone has just arrived at the manor of Lord Neverember. I think what that means is that I better bring everyone across to the map.
Oh, we got a map. Oh, we are fighting Lord Neverember.
Yeah.
That's a surprise.
I mean, look, if you choose to attack Lord Neverember, I will not stop you from doing so. I will also not save you from the consequences of doing so.
You mean becoming the
Just so we're
next
clear.
Lord Neverember? I can live with that.
I mean, you can certainly try.
It's quite dark in here.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
can't see
my
shit.
bad. So, I had intended for you to do this at night, and then we started everything in the morning.
Oh.
So my bad. So let me just adjust the lighting real quick.
While you're adjusting the lighting, may I ask, you did say on the way from point A to point B you can buy stuff. Can I just get a couple of bottles of whiskey?
No, you're being escorted here by the guard.
Oh, right. So they
On
won't
the
let
way
me
from
get any
here
whiskey.
to where you're going next, you can go to the shop.
Can I ask one
I
of them
mean-
for a bottle of whiskey?
They don't have any whiskey on them. They're on duty. They do have a wineskin that you can have some of there on the way.
I will say to them, hey, that's a poor excuse. You should carry some.
What? Why?
It's good for the liver. It cleans it out. I'm a doctor.
Okay, Doc. You say so. Alright, so eventually everyone arrives at the manor and steps inside. Now this place is not... Now you would expect the Lord Protector of the City of Neverwinter to live somewhere like really opulent, right? This place is big and it's got, you know, finery and all that kind of stuff, but it's not over the top. You know, it's pretty understated. It's just a manor house on one of the main streets in the Protector's Enclave. You step inside, wooden floorboards, rug in the middle, and you can see Protector Darrad, the one that picked you up, Qualat. He's standing at the bottom of the steps, and he sort of nods around to each of you in turn. Okay, thank you for coming. Lord Neverember is just over this way, and he sort of reaches over to his right, your guys' left, and motions to a door there. Lord Neverember is just through here. He's meeting with some of his advisors about the current situation. If you'd like to step through, I'm sure he'd be excited to see you all. And he'll sort of step over and open the door. I think I need to unfog the rooms. So let's go. Boom, yeah, there we go. Boom, you guys can feel free to head inside. And inside you'll find a kind of warm room. You know, there's a fire going, even though it's morning. You know, it's probably a bit chilly outside. Lord Neverember stands in front of the fire. He's clad in, you know, the sort of regal court outfit, you know, the blues and whites of Neverwinter's regalia. Around sitting on each of the three couches around the table are three priests of Ogma. You recognize the black and whites in their colorings. Ogma is a deity of, I should know this thing better.
Invention, I believe.
Invention, yeah, knowledge, those kinds of things. Now let's see. Oh yeah, so these particular priests of Ogmar come from the House of Knowledge here in Neverwinter. And then there's also a couple of guards and another figure. Who's this guy? I added him and forgot to add notes. That was great. Alright, so I said to you before, Sven, that Darad is like the leader of the personal guard. I mean, he is, in a sense that he's the one that everyone sees as the face. He's the one that's out on the streets. He's the, one actually doing things. But there is also Chief Protector Isilrid, who is this armored figure sort of standing beside Lord Neverember. He never leaves Neverember's side. He also doesn't really say much. He's always behind a helmet. The armor he's wearing is like a full plate kind of get up. He's got a massive greatsword on his back, full face helmet, and the armor is some kind of blackened steel. A couple of other protectors, and as you step in, Lord Neverember notices you all entering. His eyes kind of brighten slightly. He's like, greetings, friends. I'm so glad you came. I dare say terrible events are afoot, specifically. Four of our prominent citizens have been kidnapped, sort of over the last few days. Can I count on you to help me rescue them? He sort of invites you all to come in and sit down and discuss.
And Qualek saunters into the room, and as he passes Darad, the captain of the guard, he's like, Jared, good work, little buddy. You're doing a fine job. And he slams the book shut that he has in his hand, intentionally mispronounces his name, and flicks him one copper piece as he passes him by, and maybe pats him on the mailed thigh as he goes by. Just really belligerent, just really a real power move as Qualek enters the room. He has that spectral hand still, carrying the other book that he has with him, and as he sort of saunters into the room, he immediately looks around and tries to get the measure of everyone, tries to get an understanding of what's going on here, but not really trying to make it obvious that he is what's the right word here, taken aback by the chain of events that have led him here.
Mm-hmm. As you're doing the whole walking past and flicking the copper and all of that, you might sort of notice as well that Neverember kind of tries to subtly roll his eyes a little bit. You get the feeling that he may have been hesitant to call on you, which means he must also need you. Can you also roll me insight just for reading the rest of the room?
Yeah, absolutely. I have just put that up on the overlay. If there's anyone in the chat who would like to do that roll for me, you can do that by redeeming some crit code right now, right in the chat. Anyone can do that. So while we wait to see if anyone does that for me, if it doesn't happen, I'll do it myself. But Qualek sort of makes his way into the room. He tucks that book that he was carrying, maybe into his robe as well, which is now overstuffed with books. And he's trying to jam it in there. Close up his robe a little bit. Makes his way towards the left, towards one of these massive sort of maybe richly appointed chairs. He's probably about as high as the chair is. Maybe the back of the chair is actually higher than he is. So you just see the chair start to slide backwards with a really loud grinding noise, as he pulls the chair back and climbs up into the chair, and he just looks around and he's looks towards the priest of Ogmar, this heavily armored guard, and he's I'll have a black coffee, and I'll hold on to that insight check for a couple more minutes and see if anyone wants to roll
Yep,
it
cool.
for me.
Well, it's what you'll notice is that one of the other protectors, at you saying you want a coffee, kind of disappears into this next room. He like unlocks the door, opens it, walks through, closes it. You hear it lock again behind him. And as you sit there, Neverember also moves around to the head of the table. Isilrid obviously sticks right with him. Two of the priests stay over there at the couches, just sort of waiting. But one of them, a human woman, kind of looks much younger than the other two. Like the other two human men, probably in their 70s, and they seem to sit back. She stands and walks over, takes a seat here as well, and they wait for the rest of you to sort of filter in to get down to business.
I want to go past the garden and just subtly go up to him and try to take the copper out of his hand that that Qualak just gave to him and go, is there going to be food?
He looks down at you, closing his fist around the coffer before you manage to take it. It's like tucking it into a pouch. Kind of frowns a little bit, and then his face softens and he sort of like tilts his head over towards the table. He's like, take a seat, there'll be food.
Well, Tari would definitely be like trying to take everything in the room, so he would be, very cautious about this. And even if the rest of the adventurers was looking towards Valtari, he'd be like barely acknowledging them or giving them too much, but showing them enough that he remembers what has occurred. So yeah, I don't know what else is in the room. I'd say he sort of sits to the side with his legs sort of crossed and his hands sort of like in that sort of like thumb position, really just staring at the room, but sort of like listening at the same time.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I just rolled that insight too. It's a 21.
Yes, sweet.
18.
All right, so Qualak, on the insight, you get the distinct impression that everyone in the room is quite concerned, seemingly about the people that have gone missing. Isilrid is kind of like much harder to read. He's basically just a statue next to Neverember for the most part, but everyone else is giving off visible, authentic concern about the missing people. Otari, looking around the room, it seems to you very much like a dining, living, audience kind of room in a manor house, as you would expect.
Nothing really stands out. I mean, it all would, because he's not really accustomed to this.
Yeah, like everything
sort of
is a bit
way.
strange in its design. You're not, but the things that they're still, like it's just the, like a suit of armor is a suit of armor, right? Or a table's a table, but they're just, you can see the differences in the ornamentation, I guess.
Probably should have been more specific when I asked that question. DM. I mean, he would have probably been looking more at the people, if I'm being honest, because the room and that would be very foreign, if that makes sense. But anyway.
Yeah, no, that's fine. All right, so now I would say that the priests, nothing odd really stands out too much about them. They are wearing, what you would assume are robes of an order. You're not necessarily familiar with the deity they worship. You're not being.
Is there a specific symbol associated with that?
Ogma, I believe so. Let's have a look.
It's a tree, isn't it?
I think it might be a scroll or an eye. Let's find out. Just having a look at the wiki. This is a great thing. No, not there. Ogma symbol. Ogma's holy symbol is okay. So yeah, you might notice a depiction on their robes, or maybe an amulet that they're wearing that is a depiction of a plain, blank, and partially unrolled scroll.
Yep.
Sweet. So that's they'll have that on their robes, and they don't look out of place at all.
Okay.
That's all cool. Again, like I said, Neverember is dressed in regal kind of attire, noble's clothing. He's got a green doublet with a blue cloak that has flecks of white throughout. And at one point when he turns around, you'll clearly see the symbol of Neverwinter adorned on the back. And then he has a sword at his hip, sheath there. The one that kind of stands out the most is the Chief Protector. Like the other protectors are wearing, the kind of armor you see around the city, you've seen around the city every day since you've been here. Isild's armor seems different. Nothing that stands out particularly, just that similarly to how the armor you've seen here differs from the armor in your home, this armor is different. It seems maybe different again.
Yeah,
Like
but mine will also seem foreign to everyone else, so probably shouldn't judge too many people. But you say his name, was it? Isilrid. Isilrid.
Yeah.
Isildur.
All right.
Ani Lizzie is gonna go pretty much right next to Lord Neverember, and sort of with a degree of comfortability with him, she's gonna lean over and say, "It's quite unusual you calling us in, your lordship. Is everything okay?" And with that, she sort of leans and grasps his hand and gives him bardic inspiration.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's
I'll put that on
definitely
him right
not
now.
wrong. It hasn't escaped my notice either that we are operating without a sense of standard decorum.
Yeah, and Neverember will look to Lizzie, sort of squeeze her hand back and give her a thankful nod, and then look across to Krylak and give him a sort of, a similarly knowing nod of like, he's right, and looks around to everyone else. And then he places both of his hands sort of like flat on the table in front of him and lets out a heavy sigh. He's like, friends.
I don't do violence.
No, I'm sorry, I don't believe we've met. They're called Neverember. And you are?
Flower Child 4.
Flower Child 4. That's quite a mouthful, that. Would you mind terribly if I just called you 4?
I would terribly mind, yes. My full name is Flower Child 4. And I just thought I'd say before you start your speech, as I saw you the and you was gonna get into it, I thought I'd say I don't do violence. I just don't do violence.
Are you okay? I have heard somewhat differing reports from my guards, but that's fine. It's fine. He kind of looks at you quizzically for a moment, and then as if like he's just remembering something he overheard moments ago, he sort of like looks over to one of the other protectors and just like, "Can one of you go and see where Seren is with the refreshments, please? I'm sure everyone here's hungry. Like, it's very early. No one's had time for breakfast."
Oh,
would you?
Food? Oh, yeah.
And you see another
Can't
one.
be hungry again. We just had breakfast.
Also, if you got a good whiskey, that'd be good.
Yep, and at this time of day, I shouldn't be surprised. Okay, yes. Well, folks, shall we get down to business? I promise. He looks over to you, Flower Child 4, and he's just like, there will be refreshments soon.
And coffee.
I said,
It
Yes,
is
I'm
an
sure we can
ill
manage
omen to conduct business before we've had our morning coffee.
I also agree a coffee would work wonders in this instance. I'm rather tired.
Hey, you Tin Man! 2 coffees, he says to the Isilred.
You see, Isilred just kind of tilts his helmeted head to the left a little bit and looks over at you. At least you assume he's looking at you. The helmet kind of points in your direction. And he just kind of looks back at the, and resumes his position. Watching over and guarding Lord Neverember. Says nothing.
I lean over towards Veltari. He's like, I don't think he's going to get us that coffee.
A few moments later, the doors open and these two guards come back through. One's carrying a couple of trays of like meats, cheeses, breads, fruits, those kinds of things, and he places those down on the table. The other one's carrying another tray with tankards and mugs and that kind of thing, and on the tray is coffee, juice,
There you go.
oats milk, a carafe of wine.
I pour a coffee for myself and for my new friend Veltari.
Nice.
Oh, what
Thank
a
you.
rich
And he
aroma.
sort of like meets your eye, looks like a little bit suspect at you, but like at least appreciative.
Hello, Skittles, what's up? Just redeemed the roll-off. So go ahead,
Alright.
chuck your
Skittles.
predictions
Roll-off
in the
time.
chat. That should have come up. Did it come up? I don't think it came up, did it? Here, let me do that again. Hold on 1 second. Continue on with the role play while I figure out what the
Alright.
problem with that was.
You see
I've got-
Neverember is... sorry?
Continue. I was going to say, I've got a little bit of role play there. I'm definitely going to pick up one of the mugs of beer and start swilling away as I sit down in the chair and looking around at these people, right? I could swear I've seen them in a dream. And I look back and I say, so when do I wake up from this? And that's what I'm asking to Lord, what's his name?
That's kind of fitting that you can't even
does
remember his name. I think that's hilarious. He'll look over at you and just like kind of frown a little bit. Reach over and place a hand on your shoulder and just be like, friend, you are quite awake right now. Did you perhaps get yourself into the medicinal stash again? We've talked about this, friend.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get rid of these dreams, and they won't go away. I had just another one last night, and that guy was in it, and that old woman was in it, the one that looks like a handbag
Excuse
that's
me.
been left out in the sun.
Excuse me. Wait. Excuse me. I'm 57.
I'm very sorry, my dear. Lord Neverember says to Auntie Lizzie.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Lordship.
He's a cantankerous old bastard, but he has a knack for keeping people alive when they really shouldn't be. Like not evil people that no. I mean, you know what I mean. It's been a long few days.
You look weary.
Yes, well, there'll be time to sleep when there's time to sleep. Right.
I don't mean to be rude, but can we at least cut to the point? I've traveled a very long way, and it's clear that my purpose is to be here at this table with these people. So please enlighten us as to why we're here.
Yes, indeed. As I said briefly, some of our more prominent citizens have disappeared over the last few days. We think kidnapped. It's strange because none of them knew each other, and we can't find a connection between them. I called on the brothers and sister here from the House of Knowledge, see if they could help us find them. Sister Isbeth. And you can see the woman in the priest robe sort of clears her throat. Yes, with the combined forces of the divination magics that we've been able to employ, we've managed to tackles 4 of them down to somewhere within the Hallex Mausoleum, within the Neverdeath graveyard. But we can't tell specifically anything beyond that. There seems to be some kind of magic shielding whatever's there, which, quite frankly, worries me. Why is there a source of magic that we can't see through underneath the graveyard? She's about to go off on some long-winded rant about how things like that shouldn't exist, or at least shouldn't, be there without their knowledge. And she catches herself and just kind of like goes quiet and looks back over to Neverember, who kind of folds his fingers together and in front of his chest and looks out to all of you. It's just like, so friends, the people in question, we should describe them to you, and if you would, go to the graveyard and investigate this mausoleum and see if you can find them. The people in question are Eldon Keyword, a highly knowledgeable scholar, specializes in the outer planes. Indrina Lamsensettle, she's a human actor who moves around in high social circles. She's a socialite, so to speak, actor. You might have seen her if you go to the theatre at all.
What was her name?
Indrina Lamsensettle.
Indrina. Okay, great.
Indrina, Indrina.
Very good. Yes. Yes.
The third is Sarsil Malanosh. He's a human wild magic sorcerer who spends most of his time plumbing the mysteries of the outer planes. And that, I guess, would be the only link between any of the two people, is that he and Eldon
On the link to the outer planes and the study of the outer planes, yes.
Yes, but the others don't have such links. The other, the final fourth one is Umberto Noblin. He's a gnomish historian who's written many books on various deities. Sven, at this point, Qualak will recognize the name Umberto Noblin. This is a scholar with which he's familiar. Can you make me a history check?
Before we do that, let's do this roll off real quick.
Yep.
If I could get everyone here to roll a d20 and just hold on to what your outcome of that d20 is, and we'll go across the board and see who won the roll off.
Is that me as well, or just the players?
No, everyone. Everyone just stands to earn 2.4 thousand crit coin, apparently.
Oh, 2.4.
All right.
If he doubles his money, that is.
Definitely not me.
All right. Has everyone rolled that one?
Me,
did.
No, I don't think so.
Who are we missing?
We got Veltari, we got Lizzie, we got me, we got Qualak, so we still need.
Okay.
Yeah, we still need one from Geoff and one from Sevs, I believe.
Not me.
You just rolled? Yep, cool, you got that.
All right.
And here we go. Oh, look at
Oh!
Boom.
Flower Child
What's
4
that?
takes the win with a natural 20. I'm going to chuck that
Good
one
there.
up. Okay.
Yeah.
Outcome. That would be
Bit of fun, bit
Sevs.
of fun.
Nice. All right. Boom. Well
Now,
done.
Sven, you... Oh, yeah.
A history check,
You
right?
have a history check. Now, did you want to portent this roll? Did you want to maybe get the crowd to roll it? I don't know. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, man. If chat wants to roll this one for me, feel free to do so. I'm going to give you all of 10 seconds to do that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'll roll it. I'm just going to roll it. I'm not going to use my portent on this one. I'm going to save that for some clutch. History
All
check.
right.
That's an 18 with a middling roll.
Okay, that's
Not bad, not terrible.
pretty good. So But here's the interesting thing is that I included this because of your specific area of study. And so ordinarily, you wouldn't be finding this out until perhaps later on. But you are going to learn. Gotta find the guy. No, it's not that one. It's this one. You are going to know that Umberto is actually one of Neverwinter's preeminent experts on your particular field of study. You actually know him quite well, not that anyone else in the room would necessarily know this. You guys have spent many a late night up discussing, this particular subject.
Would a passive perception of mine pick up anything that he would give away? If he knew him or not? Like, I don't know if you're going to disclose it or not.
Yeah, no, because I don't really like rolling against other players, I will say, like, as he hears the name Umberto Noblin, was it? He might even, like, sit back for a second. Maybe with a look of, like, hold on, have I heard that before? Before he, like, tries to correct himself a little bit. And he actually pulls back the, maybe a fold in his robe a little bit and like slides out one of the books and just reads the name along the spine of the book. Imagine Umberto being if he's a scholar, he may have written a couple of books himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he just quietly tucks the book back away again.
Yeah, cool, no problem. So you'll be given, the description, so you know who to look for when you get in there. General directions to the mausoleum. Once you get to the graveyard, everyone knows where the graveyard is. It's in the smack dab in the middle of the southern side of the city. And yeah, Neverwinter basically believes that can he count on you all
Wait a second.
to look into this and.
Wait a second. So let me just get this straight. You, the Lord Protector of the city, with what? You must have thousands of people at your beck and call. You bring together a group of misfits like us. I mean, look at that one. He's wearing a tie-dye shirt and has no idea where he is. You bring us together and you ask us to look into a problem that you're having in the city. You say your so-called diviners have attempted to locate them and have had no success, but there's some sort of barrier around a mausoleum or a cemetery or something like this. I must admit, I wasn't really paying too much attention, but let's get down to the real business here.
Simeon boy over here's got a point,
Hey, watch your mouth. I'm not a simian. I may have features that might look a little bit simian, but I'm not a monkey, okay? So word's on your lip, take it out of your lips, huh?
I think he called himself Qualek or something like that.
That's right. Qualek. And let me get this straight. He points over towards you, Veltari, to his right. He's like, Veltari? Lisbane Casarelli? Am I remembering that correctly? And you over there...
You can call me Lizzie.
Auntie Lizzie, of course. And Doc Hovel. Yeah? Is this correct?
That's right, yes. And I'm kind of wondering why I'm here. What do you need a doctor for?
I will also point out that none of you have actually introduced yourselves to each other yet.
But I remember this from the dream, right?
Yes, you do. So I'm just making sure everyone else realizes that you haven't been introduced in this moment, and you've just said that with your legit knowledge. So yeah,
it's like, so you bring us together to do what? Why couldn't Tin Man deal with this?
Let's just say I have a feeling that this might require a little more particular expertise than smashing things with a sword. Okay? No offense, Isilrid. You're very good at that. And you hear a very, very faint, like a grunt, come from underneath the helmet.
No.
Then he turns back to you and says, and also, look, Qualek, we've known each other for a while. I know we don't exactly see eye to eye, but the truth of the matter is that we both play a vital role in the functioning of this city.
Mm.
Now, before you let that go to your head, I know what you've been up to lately. I have enough evidence
no
to put
idea
you away for a very,
about.
very long time.
If you have evidence
But instead
of anything, and I'm not saying that I've done anything wrong, you would have done so a long time ago. Now, you and I both know. Let's not try to have one up on each other.
I have decided instead, friend, to offer you a full pardon. And he reaches up and snaps his fingers, and one of the guards that ducked out before that brought the trays out reaches behind his back and pulls out a small satchel, reaches inside, and inside the satchel is a ornate wooden box. And he places it on the table and sort of like opens it up to be facing all of you guys. It's got like a hinge lid kind of thing. Within it, you see five of you, aren't? Yep, 5 small brooches in the shape of a shield that bear the crest of Neverwinter on the front. Qualek, you recognize this immediately, as each of the protectors wears something similar. Qualek, and each of you, my friends, what I propose is to induct each of you into my personal guard. That will come with all of the benefits therein.
Fiscal
and
benefits.
Should you be...
I'm just gonna look at him and say, look, I've got a surgery to run. There's people in my neighborhood need me. What do you expect me to do?
Your expertise in combat medicine may be needed. I'm not going to lie. This won't necessarily be a walk in the park. Like this could be a dangerous undertaking. We don't know what's under there.
And that's where I just sit down. Oh, I'm still sitting down and say, well, that's great. And just take a quick swig from the beer and go, that's great. Anyone else?
Doc, I can assure you that I'll send some of our better clerics down to your clinic to keep an eye on your people while you're doing this for me. Okay, I can't spare many, but I can spare 1 or 2. This is the other reason why I'm not just sending the guard, is it would take far too many of them to get something like this done, whereas you all have a particular set of skills that I think will be quite useful. And may be able to accomplish this faster than, a platoon or a squadron. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. These emblems, if you carry them with you, will give you access to basically anything in the city you need. Merchants will give you discounts. And if you manage to complete this mission successfully, I will see to it that you are all given accommodations anywhere in the city that you see fit, to whatever standard you would prefer.
My lord, I do not mean to be rude to you, but I'm already a part of an order. I cannot be what you ask of me, but I feel I'm supposed to be here with these people and do this task that you've given us. I will take this, but I cannot wear it.
Just
you don't
keep
want
it
it?
on
I'll
your
have it.
person.
I will take it, but I cannot wear it.
I understand. So long as you have it for the situations where it is necessary, you're not required to. We're not it's not an exclusive club or anything here. Like, you can act as a protector.
That's fine, as long as my position is known.
Understood.
I can take it, but I cannot wear it.
It's fine. Not something you need to, visibly show. And it looks over to Quirlac, unless you're using it to get yourself out of trouble, which I assume you're going to at some point. Kind of rolls it with his eyes a little bit.
You wound me. Now, look, I cannot speak for the rest of the people here at the table, and I see this one is desperately wanting to speak, but you can keep whatever payment you want to offer me. I have a list of things that have been difficult for me to get my hands on. Even in my position, there are certain doors that get opened when you walk in more legitimate circles. He pulls out that diary that he had earlier, and piece of charcoal or something like that, pulls out one of the pages and starts to quickly scribble some things on the page, and he pushes it along the table, maybe to one of Lord Neberander's aides or something like that, and he says, if you can get me these things, and there's nothing on there that's illegal, just difficult to get a hold of, you know what I mean, you get me these things, and maybe I help you out. We come to mutually beneficial arrangement.
No, so the aide will pass the list up to Neverember and he'll take a quick read. What are you asking for?
Just some exotic components for his project.
Okay. Neverember will look them over, and he nods at the first couple and looks at some of the things maybe lower down on the list. The rarer of the things. And she's like, look, some of this might take some time, but we'll see what we can do.
Time
Agreed.
is a thin veil.
Bloody wizards. Yes, okay. Well then, friends.
I puts his hand up, as if he's in school or something.
Put your hand down. This is in school. Put it down. Just speak like an adult.
I'm having a bit of a panic attack right now, and I think you may have picked the wrong person. I was in that alley, and there was other people in the alley, but there was also a lot of guards in that alley, and I didn't do anything. And there's a guy there. He's got a sword, and everybody else looks really mean and stuff. And I don't really do violence. And you're talking about going into a crypt where there's dead things, and I don't particularly want to go there. And then you say there's a brooch, and then we're a part of a thing. But then I just want to point out you're mixing me up, but I and then he takes a bit of chicken.
Funny Lizzie sort of touches him on his shoulder and gives him a bardic inspiration. You're okay.
Okay. I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried that you put a lot of effort into getting people together, and I don't want to let anybody down. And everybody's looking at me right now, and it's making this panic attack a little bit worse.
You see then the priests immediately kind of look away, and all the guards just stare at you a little bit harder.
Quirlac laughs out loud. He points at him and he's like, did you bring this one along as a joke?
I have a feeling this one's stronger than he looks.
Quirlac slaps the table and he's like, look, boy, do you know what a meat shield is?
Is it like a chicken that you hold in front of you?
Yes,
not quite.
We'll get you one to take. We'll get you one to take with you, lad. It's okay, Quirlac.
Sorry.
Just so you're aware, you remember how you're well, I'm not sure if you heard the reports yet, but most of your top lieutenants are in my dungeon. And he kind of points over at 4. As much as he might want to deny it, he did that. At least that's what my guards tell me. Apparently they tried to pick a fight with the wrong guy looking for a meal, you know?
But tiefling speaks truth. This boy, or this young man, there's something within him. Maybe he's not aware of it yet.
And at this point, Neverember will turn to Flower Child 4 and just look at him with like, kind of like a reassuring, but like firm, kind of just like, look, lad, I understand you might not know what's, you might not understand what's going on here, but I assure you, this is not the first time I've gathered a group of adventurers to help save my city.
What happened to them? Did they die?
Most of them, no. And most of them are living.
That's
No, most of them are living happy lives now in their homes.
And Qualek,
Some of them are still here in Neverwinter. Others have moved on.
mimics like throat cut, like trying to only so Flower Child can see it and no one else.
It's not very reassuring. Oh, I've made another group. They're dead. Let's get another group.
Are you familiar with the concept of retirement, lad?
Oh, well, yeah. Of course I know what retirement is. What we used to do, see, in the commune with all the old people, when they get like too old, we just used to set them free on an island, and then we call that retirement. We set them free with a dagger, and that was it.
This is
Okay.
going
Set
to
'em free
be
with a
looking-
dagger.
I'm going to turn to him and say, hey,
Look at Lizzie.
look, never mind.
What do you mean by that?
What? Nothing. Didn't say a word.
Neverember looks a little bit taken aback by that particular revelation. He kind of just, shakes his head a little bit, just like subtly, and then lets him say, "Look, here in Neverwinter, when our elders retire, they are given the finest accommodations and looked after, and until their last days."
Why is
where
Lizzie
most-
coming with us? Would she have like the retirement already? Why are you coming? Why are you thinking about coming with us?
I'm gonna let that one slide because it seems like you're new to this whole realm.
You
But
might
That's
need
your last
to-
one. That's your last one. All
You
right.
might want to mind your manners going forward, lad. Not gonna lie.
All right, noted.
Okay, so are we all agreed?
Aye.
You'll go to the mausoleum, you'll investigate, and if you can rescue our citizens, well, the city will be indebted to you to the sum of any house you want, pretty much. That's not already occupied, of course.
I assume time is of the essence. We should probably get going.
Well, yeah. Yes, I would prefer if you didn't dabble. Some of them have been missing for a number of days already.
As you wish, my lord.
Thank you.
Can I take this coffee
well.
to go? It's very nice.
Yes, please.
Oh, we can take stuff. Awesome. Can I have the rest of this chicken, please?
And Neverember looks at the board that's like literally got 3 chickens on it.
Oh, they don't go in.
He's like, sure. No problem.
Pass one to Lizzie. You got that one?
No, I'm okay. Thank you, though.
Alright, if you would all like to, whether or not you're going to wear it, I assume you're taking the item. So if you would all like to, make sure you have homebrew turned on your sheet and add an item called Protector's Grace.
Let's have a look at my.
You can do it after the episode, actually, because we're going to wrap, but just I'll give you a basic rundown. So it's the brooch in the shape of a shield, bears the crest of Neverwinter. On the rear is the personal seal of Lord Protector Dagolt Neverember himself. And it symbolizes that the bearer is acting under direct orders of the Lord Protector and should be left unobstructed to do their duty. While bearing the object, a creature has advantage on persuasion versus Neverwinter authorities, no attunement required. So you can just show this, and it gives you advantage to persuade Neverwinter guards or other authorities if you need to be doing something that you don't want to tell them that you're doing, that kind of thing. It's like your special inspector's pass. They won't question you, they'll just let you in.
Could you please repeat the name of the item?
It's called Protector's Grace. It's a homebrew
Protector's
item, so
Grace.
you'll need homebrew turned on.
I've got it.
Yeah, sweet. While attuned to this object, the bearer has +1 to all saving throws and dark vision with a range of 60 feet.
Son of
If
a
ever
bitch.
separated from the object by more than 5 feet, or if the wearer is killed, Lord Neverember is magically alerted to the location this took place so that he may send help. Lord Protector may use a magic action to end a creature's attunement to the object. So, if he wants to, if you betray the city or something and he, wants to end your attunement and make it effectively useless, he can. But yeah, so you each get one of those.
Cool.
Yeah. And with that, we are at 10:58. I believe we have a hard cut off at 11. Yes. So I think we can wrap with you guys all leaving Neverember Manor, heading off into the streets of Neverwinter. We will do. I don't think we need to do shopping for potions and components and stuff live on air, so we can do that through the week, and we'll pick up next week as you arrive at Neverdeath Graveyard.
Never
Oh,
dead
yeah.
graveyard. No one ever dies there, I've heard.
Yeah,
Everyone's
never dead.
alive.
Everyone's alive.
Well,
Bury everyone
Oh, yeah,
alive in
but-
that graveyard.
From what I hear, there's a lot of zombies. But also from what I read, you guys are more than strong enough to basically just walk through all the zombies and go straight to the mausoleum. So there won't be any fighting your way through, trash mobs to get there. But anyway, thank you very much, folks. This has been a wonderful session one. I'm very happy with how that went, and I'm pretty excited to get into the exploration next week. Just so you know, next week we'll be starting off with a dungeon crawl from the very start.
Oh, yeah. I did a whole episode. I didn't cast a single spell.
Nice. I didn't ask for initiative rolls once.
I know.
It's very rare for
No.
me to run an episode without putting some kind of initiative, like a little scrap or something
Just
in there.
a bit of good old RP.
Yeah, I
Hell
like
yeah.
an episode like that. I always say, like, if you got 1 or 2 RP episodes, exploration, and then some combat, it makes that combat feel that much more juicy, like stakes. It raises the
Yeah.
stakes. And
Heck
we
yeah.
know Flower Child loves a good steak.
Loves one.
Loves being.
Apparently doesn't like a fight though, so this is going to be interesting.
It's good. This is the one hell of a
will be.
party we've brought together. It's going to be interesting to see next week how things unfold. The story has well and truly begun, and I cannot wait. For one, I can't wait for next week. Yes, that's right. We're going to be back again next week. Same time, same place. Catch us live on Twitch, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for episode 2 of Vecna Eve of Ruin with our very own Mr. Mark Hillman DMing that one. Of course, we have a couple of new rewards that people can buy with their crit coin. We're going to be introducing a couple of other ones as well. We want to drive the viewer engagement a little bit, so make sure you check this episode out as well. We're going to be dropping those ones on YouTube sometime in the future. I like to have 2 or 3 episodes in the bag before I start to put them up on the tubes. And if you see us on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment and give us a subscribe there as well. Help us beat the algorithms, because we are back in full force. And you know what? I want to build the community back up. We're almost at 600 followers. 600! Can you believe it?
Oh yeah,
It's amazing.
let's go.
And if you want more D&D action in the meantime, you can catch up with all the episodes of Back in Blackest Night, which is our Curse of Strahd actual play, with me in the driver's seat for that one, and on the 1s and 2s for that matter. We just uploaded 3 spin-off episodes titled, what's the title again? Curse of the Violet Briar, which was run by Christian while Gem and I were on holidays. And we have the next episode of that one coming out next Monday. Same time, same place, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And as a little bit of an extra jauntski, we have a unique rewards, which will be available on Beck and Blackest Night, where you can buy cards to add buffs or debuffs to any one of the players chosen at random. Is there anything anyone else wanted to say before we finish up for tonight?
Yes, a couple of things. We have to thank Tabletop Audio for the ambiance there. It's been quite lovely there. We've been able to download the tracks and just load them up into the VTT, so thank you very much. And a little something that I meant to slip in during the game, like kind of right at the start of everything. Kiran, Auntie Lizzie drew that card and lost some life force, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, it was interesting. As she was putting the card back in the deck, she saw the back of it flash and saw the image of a star. Auntie Lizzie may increase any one of her ability scores by 2 to a maximum of 24. Your choice.
Yeah. What?
Wow.
So what I said to Kiran when he asked if he could have the Deck of Wonder is that occasionally I would match the card that he pulled from the Deck of Wonder with a card from the Deck of Many Things, which I did with this one. I meant to say so during the game. And I basically matched I looked at, we were using a 22 card deck, and I went, all right, he's pulled out card 17. So I went and found card 17 in the Deck of Many Things, and it was Star. You're lucky I did it that way and didn't just match the theme, because I was going to take End and match it with like Skull or something, which was 16, and that would have been that would have been real bad, because then the Avatar of Death would have appeared in the hotel room, and it could have been over.
Is this just for the day, or is this going to be?
No, this is permanent.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
Brutal.
A&I. ASI. A&I.
Don't get me wrong. If you draw a 22 card and I happen to have decided that this is one that's going to happen, your soul gets sucked from your body and trapped in an object of my choice.
Yeah.
So it's risky shit, you know.
That's
yeah.
Auntie Lizzie believes in the cards. If that's meant to happen, it's meant to happen.
Right there. Exactly. Perfect. All right. Thanks, heaps, folks. That was all I had to add.
All right. We'll see you all again next week. Goodbye, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Bye. We love you.